Hello, hello, everybody. How are you doing? Let's see. Divs is here, Richard's here. Hello, hello. Welcome, and Castle. Thanks for joining. I need to get the music started, don't I? Got to pick one. Hold on. I'll just do what? I was actually going to play something last week, and I've forgotten what it was. I'll just do the what's it? The what was it? Dark and Gothic or something. If I can find it again. Let's have a look. Playlist. How's everybody doing? Sorry, we've had storm problems and electricity problems, and it's been on and off and going off for like 16 odd hours at a time. It's been lots and lots of fun. Here we go, let's play this. If anything happens, there we go. And I think we're all good. Yep, my volume's on and Spotify is playing. Work with Sobek. Haven't done any anything with Sobek. Kasim, hello. Thanks for joining. All right, I think we're all the sounds and stuff are up. Let's do all this. Did I even do Sobek on my Demon of the Week thing? I can't even remember. Doesn't ring a bell. Let me check. I did not. That's interesting. Sin, is that Sind or Sin? Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Reshkigal, work with her at all? I did briefly, but not a lot of work. I was doing something in regards to creating a compass with the Sumerian gods. So it was really, really brief. So not much. Oh, Sebek is the Nile crocodile god. Okay, alright, now I was thinking of somebody completely different. Alright. Let's screen bigger, because I'm getting old and going blind. Let me do this. There we go, now I can read everything. I guess we're going to have to wait a little while before everybody's on. Next weekend is the solstice, just in case everybody forgot. I'll be here still. I'm going to be doing some celebrations with my daughter, but I'll be on the live. The Truth. Hello, Truth. Have you worked anything with Prince Orobos? I did. It was actually quite a long time ago. In fact, he was one of the very first Goetic spirits that I actually contacted. I love Orobos. I think he's amazing. Very gentle kind of energy. No, just doesn't. There's no shit with him either. Let's see how many people are up there. I've got a couple of announcements about next year, but I'm going to wait until there's a few more people here, so otherwise I'm going to have to do it all again. It's very quiet. Kasim, what's your opinion about 2026? I think it's going to be a good year. It's going to be better. I don't know about like if it's going to be like a huge big difference, but it is definitely going to get better. As far as I understand, I'm only basing this on what I've been told from my very good friend who's an astrologer. It seems, and it's going to be different as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it because this year has been an absolute ball of shit. It really has. Been like navigating potholes and all. I live in South Africa and I used to drive a car, so I know what between potholes is like. It was worse. Yeah, it's been a shitty year. Castle, working with Sebek was more a calling because of me working with Isis, Bastet, and Sekhmet. Just noticed I do apologize when working on Negong Heging Qigong. Just no, what? I'm not sure what you're apologizing for. That's very confusing. Let us know. Truth found his energy to be a little intense, but not as intense as some others. Reminded me of Andras, but not as intimidating and energy. Really, Orobas? I never found that. I found she very gentle. So that's quite interesting. Castle just being quiet is all. Okay, no, that's fine. Richard, if next year is any better, I'm all for it. Yeah, I don't think it can get much worse than this year, to be frank. I suppose it can. It could always get worse. That's what I actually when I was in the church and very heavily involved in the church. Sorry, I just need to turn this down a bit on my side because it's very loud in my one ear. There used to be a minister who one thing he always used to say was it can always be worse, and it was true. We actually kind of sat there and tested it one day. We came up with all these scenarios of how it could, like really bad things, and then we go, oh, it could always be worse, and then we think of a thing that was always worse, and yeah, it could be. So yeah, quite fun. Choose I like working with Orobas though, but I am a big fan of Andras. Cool, that's good. Richard, don't jinx it. It can't get worse. It can get worse. There you go. That's better. Singe, how about Seraphans? How you encountered her? No, I haven't. Haven't worked with Seraphans, or Aradnia. I'm not sure why people ask all these, which spirits have you worked with this spirit, this spirit? There are literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of spirits and demons to work with, and nobody can work with all of them. So I've got a little handful that I work with from the Glacier. You know, when I need particular things done, and they cover everything. And I generally, I say my morning prayers to them, but I haven't actually done anything with them in months because I've had no no reason to. I've been working a lot with planetary energies actually lately, and Lakshmi as well. So things have taken a bit of a shift in my own practice and devotional work. Light Fighter Zen, hello, hello. Hope you're doing well. Kasim, so what? That is the case with Gothic spirits. You only work with them when you need to. It's not an act of worship. No, I do believe it is an act of worship, which is why I say I have like a handful that I worship. And I say my morning prayers to them every single morning. I acknowledge them, but I've had no reason to call on them for anything particular. But it is, I was actually having a discussion with a friend of mine this past week about this. The terminology we use, work with the demons and work with the spirits, and I agree with them. I mean, it basically comes down to we don't work with these spirits, we worship them. To the implication of working with the spirits gives the idea that there's an exchange, and that's all that relationship is about, is exchange. And they are far more than that, in my opinion. So I still got this, the language fixed in my head. Work with the spirits and work with this spirit and work with that spirit, and I'm trying to slowly move away from it and move towards things like worship, relationship, interaction, all that stuff. Because yeah, I kind of agree. It gives this idea that the only reason we actually call on them is for an interaction or an exchange, sorry. And that exchange is like a business exchange, and I don't think it should be like that. So I do believe it is a worship, and as I say in my own practice, um, for clients who particularly want to work with, want to connect with a particular spirit for whatever reason, that's a different story. Then I'll go to that spirit and I'll connect with them for the client. But in my own personal work, it is just a handful of spirits that I have that I have built a relationship and a bond over years. And they cover all the needs that I would ever want. I don't need to go and find other spirits to work with. So that's kind of what it boils down to for me anyway. Uh, so, as I said, there's thousands upon thousands of spirits out there that I have not interacted with because I have absolutely no need to. Um, it starts to feel a bit like collecting Pokemon almost, But yeah, that's just me. Turner, hello Turner. Just curious, how does one work with planetary energies? Oh, there's a few ways actually, and I probably don't know all of them either. Um, one way I've been recently working with them, or two ways actually, is one using the Orphic hymns, um, getting the Orphic hymn to the planet and actually reciting it, and I found that it's actually quite a good idea to um, take the number of the planet and recite it that number of times. So I've been working with Jupiter, for instance. So you recite the Orphic hymn 4 times every day, and really it's kind of like just it, it's word magic. It is vibrational because you don't kind of think the words, you speak them aloud. It's vibrational. And it works really, really well. But the other one I've been working with lately as well is the Solomonic Pentacles, which on one hand they kind of are planetary, on the other hand they're not. Um, what I mean by that is they kind of encompass the planetary energies, um, and they're grouped into planets, and the planets are kind of like the assignment of the type of work that they do, the thing that they do, the office that they have or hold. So, for instance, like the Jupiterian pentacles all mostly revolve around abundance, money, things like that, marketing, etc., etc., etc. Whereas the Saturnian is more about protection, death, and all that, because it's what the planet is kind of assigned to. But at the same time, you don't need to work with them on the planetary day or hour that is assigned to the planet. So you can work with them any time. It's different aspect there. Um, I do like to venture into the Hindu technologies. I do like to chant the mantras to the Navagrahas, the planetary spirits. I find that very effective. If you, however, look into the working of Aurum Solace, which is an order from 70s, it might be earlier, I'm not quite sure. Let me find out when Aurum Solace actually started. If you read any of Denning and Phillips' books, they were Aurum Solace, really, and they wrote a lot of books that encompassed the orders, practices, and philosophies and worldview, really. Um, but if you go into Denning and Phillips' book, Planetary Magic, the particular way they work is to cool down the energy and let it circulate or spin around you, and it creates this energy sphere around you, and you kind of use vibrational states using divine names and all of this stuff to actually change it from one state into another, and you kind of get to what you feel the energy itself. It's quite involved. It's really good. No, sorry, no, 1970s. It was founded in 1897. A lot earlier. I got my dates wrong. My history and geography are terrible. Uh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways you can work with planetary energies, and they're quite powerful. I find them very useful to work with. Um, sorry, let me catch up now. Castle, I think that tends to happen. You work with different spirits, gods or goddesses as you evolve. You do, yeah, and I think what happens is as you kind of go along, you kind of encounter particular spirits that are there temporarily. They're there to teach you a lesson or help you with something, and then they move on, and you may not work with them ever again. So it's a very brief encounter. Others stay for the rest of your life. Some people work with only one spirit for their entire life. Doesn't mean that they do not believe in other spirits, and they might not. They may encounter those spirits every now and again, but they just tend to work with one spirit because one god or goddess can encompass everything. We kind of like, especially the spirits like from the grimoire, especially the Goetia, we kind of think of them as only being able to do X, Y, and Z, and they can do everything. But it's just that they are more inclined to, the energies are more inclined to kind of focus on that particular thing. It's like I can draw pictures. I can build websites. I can do magic. I can teach magic. I can um, fix plumbing if I really need to. And I'm not a plumber, but I can do it. I can. Well, not anymore because cars have changed. But I used to be able to work on engines, for instance. So I can do all those things, but my strong suit is not engines and plumbing and electrics and all that stuff. So do the spirits can do everything, but they have this area which becomes their strong suit. But we kind of like think that you can only work with that spirit for that one thing, and that's it, nothing else. But you can. I mean, you can work with one or work with. You can build a relationship with one singular spirit, and that will encompass everything in your life that you need. So, depends on, everybody's different, as I said. Um, Light Fighters N. Uh, Doing great, so I hope everything is good with you. It is, thank you very much. My electricity's on at the moment, so it's been very good. At this point, don't really ask much from any spirits. I used to ask a lot, but now I just vibrate with them and give them offerings. Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, I think one important lesson to learn is that we're powerful beings ourselves, and I think people forget that. We always go to spirits to kind of like solve our problems, but we can solve them ourselves. We don't need spirits. A lot of people don't work with spirits at all. He also said that it took me time to get here and develop a relationship with them. Yeah, it does. It does take time. Kasim, I know you mentioned that you work with angels. Oh no, I don't. No, I don't like angels. Do you still doing any work with them, and do you do any worship of them as well? No, I don't work with angels, apart from vibrating their angelic names and divine names within the pentacles, but that's not particularly working with angels or building relationships. That's just aligning with the energy, um, putting that energy into motion, kind of thing. But it's not particularly working with angels. I don't like working with angels. Really don't. Light Fighter Zen, vibrational is the key. You're right about that. Yeah, well, I work mostly with the energy model, so vibration, resonance, frequency, that all kind of like fits in there as well. You know, I believe everything vibrates. That I know it's not been proven, but string theory, where there's a string within the smallest particle within an atom, and that just vibrates, and everything has that string, a string which vibrates. So everything has got its own tune, its own song. I saw Picatrix as well if you want to do planetary energies. Yeah, if you know astrology. I don't know astrology, so I don't work with Picatrix. It's very astrology heavy. If you don't really understand astrology, a lot of it doesn't make any sense. Franklin, I'm just going to say Franklin. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. You didn't mention anything before. No, that's first time. Hello. Um, there are beliefs that the goetic spirits are all aspects of God, same as the angels. Since we are aspects of the divine, they all dwell inward, waiting to be called on by our own will. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one worldview. It's very close to what I believe, actually, my own personal worldview. But that goes for everything. That's not just goetic spirits. That goes for the Fey, nature spirits. It goes for. I'm an animist as well, so it goes for rocks and plants and trees and fish and birds and people and Fey. Everything is part of that one big power that I personally call Omnil, the all-know thing. And it's where everything are aspects of this force. So yeah, absolutely. Um, the truth, you said, I believe that all of the infernals can do everything, but I do think that some of the ranks might be more willing to exercise themselves in different domains. Okay, not really something I follow myself. I don't go for the hierarchies and ranks. I suppose you're not really talking about the hierarchies there, though. But yeah, it's kind of like as I said, they have their kind of their strong suits, the areas where they're stronger at. They can do other things, but that's just where they're best suited. Franklin asking Andras for help with love would be an interesting idea. Hmm. Okay. Uh, um, the truth. Right, Franklin, I have tried. He didn't seem to have any interest in it. No, I doubt he would. Not with me, anyways. Not saying he can't, but with me, I just didn't get any answer. I don't think that would be something he would be interested in. Franklin, nice to know I wasn't the only one who thought of it. Light fighter. Um, I can't believe you mentioned string theory. My senior thesis in college was about superstring theory. I find quantum physics to be absolutely fascinating. I'm actually going to spend next year trying my best to learn quantum physics and quantum mechanics. Um, I do kind of have I'd say a basic grasp of particular concepts, but when it starts getting into the mathematics and stuff, most of it goes over my head. So I'm going to give it my best shot. That's going to be my study for next year anyway. I like to pick a topic that I focus a study on. So that's going to be quantum physics next year. I think it ties in fantastically with magic. I really do. Um, the truth that Franklin Andros was one of the spirits I'm closest to, but I am not in the current moment actively working with him. I am working actively with some of my other guides at the moment. Turner, why don't you like angels? Because they've got no interest in humans. So they've got no interest in me, then I've got no interest in them. And just they're a pain in the ass. They really are. I okay. We're gonna have to define this, obviously, again. So my interpretation of angels, my understanding of angels, I was actually having this discussion this past week. It seems to fall into the about 11th, 12th century understanding of what angels are, which means that they are not individual entities. Um, they are groups of energies. And working with them is just absolutely difficult. It really is difficult. It's crazy. It's kind of like trying to work with a beehive. It's just these crazy mass of multiple thousands of energies and entities that are kind of like all massing together to do a particular thing. I mean, they control massive things in the cosmos. It's not like they're interested in one singular person that you know uh, is constipated and needs to have a good shit and calls the angels to help and heal. I mean, humans ask for really weird things sometimes. Um, so yeah, it's not something I would even ever entertain. Um, but having said that, this is another problem when we come to especially English words. People talk of or refer to the archangels as being angels, and they're not. Archangels are completely different entities. They're on a completely different level. You get the four emanations. They're on a different level altogether. They're not part of the classes of angels. So, we need to start getting these interpretations right, I think. Mimalek, hello. Haven't seen you in a while. Sorry for being late. No, you're not that late, don't worry. Franklin, on that note, Mr. Lee, some thoughts are the aura is the true circle we use. On the Andros comment, I was thinking about what you said about one spirit can do everything and what would be an absurd work. Thank you for responding. Some thoughts. Is the aura the true circle? I assume you mean our circle of protection. This is going to be one of those yes and no answers. It can be, not usually considered to be. You know, there's certain methods of actually, you know, creating a protective barrier, opening a circle, which becomes a sphere around you, which kind of does allude to the aura itself. You've also got the aspect of the etheric body, which in Qigong, Taoism, etc., etc., is usually considered to be the guardian chi. Or it's not considered to be the guardian chi, but it's so similar. I'm not sure there's actually a distinction between the two. So there's, yeah, it's a bit of a, again, it comes, you know, that kind of thing comes down to interpretation. I mean, some people talk about 4 energy bodies, some people talk about 6, 12. You know, it's really about interpretation again. But yeah, it can be. I mean, when you put up a protective barrier, you imagine the sphere around you that is protecting yourself, your energy, and everything else. And really, that's kind of like enforcing your aura at the end of the day. So yeah, could be. I don't know. Sind, Archangel Metatron is the first angel I encountered. Archangel. Again, Archangel and Angel, very, very different things. He told me that it was time to face my shadow. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Doing shadow work is one of those things that we all have to do, and on a constant basis. I actually need to do something on the... I'm going to pull up... There's some very, very good quotes from William Gray's books. I'll call them up, single them out, and I think I should do a video speaking about this, and you know, where the angels sit, where the archangels sit within the worlds of emanation, within the tree of life and Kabbalah, etc. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can grab those quotes at some point. Richard at Turner, angels' energy is icky, to put it lightly. Yes. And anybody who works with Enochian angels will usually tell you they are horrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible spirits. In fact, I'm not even sure they are angels, to be honest with you. I think D.N. Kelly just called them angels because if they didn't at the time, they would have been executed. Franklin, I enjoy Samael's energy, but very few others. Yeah, so I'm not really a... I haven't encountered Samael that much, which is kind of weird because I do work, necromantic work. I'm a psychopomp. I guess Samael encompasses a different stage of the death process for me. So, but yeah. Oh, Andrea's here as well now. Hello. Where was I? Mimilek. I went and did make sacrifice to Lady Fortuna at the casino. Seems I lost my touch. Before or after making the sacrifice or the offerings to Lady Fortuna? Did it have any positive effects? Very interested to hear. Casso, I was taught it was supposed to be easy to work with spirits, but I understand everyone's reason. It depends on the spirits as well. Some are easy for one person to work with and not as easy for another person to work with. They may find it easier to work with others. I think it depends on, again, coming back to vibrational states. You know, it's a bit like two people meet the same person. One person hates that person, the other one loves that person. They're just one person gels, the other one doesn't. And I think it's because sometimes we clash with people. And same thing here, if the frequency of the spirit is clashing with your own frequency, you're not going to get along with them. And it's going to be very, very difficult to build a relationship with them. Others, you click with straight away. And another possibility why you would click with them is because you have a very, very old relationship and bond with them from previous lifetimes. I did some work this past year with the devil, and specifically, if anybody's followed me on Patreon, the Book of Obimero, the Black Book. And one of the first experiences I had when I started that work was that I got a direct communication from the devil that I was already promised to him. But this was like going back lifetimes. It's not even in this lifetime. So it kind of seems to carry through. So yeah, spirit work's a very interesting thing, but it's full of paradoxes, as well, like most magic. The truth, I have never tried to work with angels. I think some of them seem interesting, but I don't really have any desire to work with them. I don't know how you would work with them. Honestly, I'll take that back. Again, coming back to the pentacles. So with the pentacles, what you're doing is you are vibrating or calling on the angelic names, and this is how things have evolved over the centuries, is that we now consider these names to be names of singular entities, and I can't get around that at all myself. When we are encountering an angelic name, it usually translates to something, and usually it ends in L or ear. L is kind of a active force, and ear is more of a receptive force. And you can also consider that from a messenger point of view, although when we start looking into Hebrew, Kabbalah, etc., that's the messenger aspect is really assigned to the Malachim, which is just one group of angels amongst many. So it gets a bit tricky. Where was I? Going down rabbit holes here. Hang on. Let me get my mind back. Yeah, so we've kind of like gotten to this point where we think of these names as being or singular entities, and we've referred to them as him and he and whatnot. But really, I mean, it's like you get an angelic name, and it's like the big toe of L, whatever the aspect is, the love of L, or the lock of L, etc., etc., etc. So it's not even a name; it's an assignment, and I don't consider them to be singular entities. I consider when you call on the force of an angelic name, it is a group of energies that are all going towards the same goal, type of thing, and you engage the energy and you put it into action, kind of awakening it and throwing it in a particular direction. And this is what you do with the pentacles. You awaken the pentacles, and the pentacle becomes like a vortex, which carries the intention through desire and will, etc., 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 all of these words and stuff, into the underworld, because the pentacle becomes a double vortex. It becomes a vortex up into our world and a vortex down into the other world, and it kind of takes all of that energy into the astral, and then in the astral it forms, and then over a period of time, it bleeds through into the physical, and we get manifestation. So yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that anymore. Rabbit holes. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the chat now because I'm just rambling. Now I've lost my place. Hang on. Light Fighter Zen. If you want to read a great book about quantum theory, try 6 Easy Pieces. Oh, I haven't heard of that one. Oh, Richard Feynman. I know the name, but I haven't heard of that book. I've got a list of 12 books lined up, but I'm going to get through a book a month. So my study period is in the morning when I wake up, when I do all my morning practices. So I take half an hour to read. Okay, let me pull that up and leave that there, and I can go hunt for it later. It's quite cheap. All right. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. That's a good suggestion. Andrea, have been invoked by the playing of a Bauhaus track. There you go. I know how to get Andrea here. Oops, hang on, we're skipping. Mimilek, I lost my touch with the games. Oh, and I'll never set foot at that one casino again. I'm still waiting for effect of that sacrifice, and if not, I'll take up on the invitation from Sia and Paimon. As long as you're keeping things circulating, got to remember that as well. You gave the sacrifice, the offering to Lady Fortuna, which means that you've put something in, you've created a void this side which needs to be filled. But you've got to keep that energy flowing back and forth, especially when it comes to money magic nowadays. You know, we don't work with the earth element in this aspect. It's now the air element because we work with electronic currency. And I'm not even talking about Bitcoin and stuff. We work with credit cards, and we work with EFTs and all of that stuff. So a lot of our money transactions are electronic. They're assigned to the air element. I don't even work with physical money anymore. Back in the day, it used to be earth, especially when people were doing, you know, working with gold and silver and things like that, especially when people were bartering. You know, that was more earthy. Now it's just air. So with air, you've got to keep it flowing. It's got to keep going. So if it becomes stagnant, then it stops. So you've got to throw it out there again, and then it comes back again. Another thing you can do is obviously bless the money. You can do that with powders, with oils, although be careful with oils. I discovered not too long back that some shops now put their money through it's a forgery detector or something. So they put the money through into the till, but it goes through this little machine thing, and it doesn't work. If there's a bit of oil on the note, it doesn't go through the machine. So be careful of putting oils on your notes. But Jason Miller's cash box is actually really good for that. If you want to do that, it's like what I was doing at the time was drawing some money and then putting it into the cash box for a week, and then going and spending it. So it would like sit in the cash box. It would you know, get blessed, get filled with energy, and then I'd go spend it. So you go put it back in the system, which then is supposed to bring a lot more back. And then I'd just replace that money each week and go spend it. So keeping it cycling is the idea. But yeah, Jason Miller's Financial Sorcery book is brilliant, by the way. And I think it was the Financial Sorcery book. Yeah, I'm sure it was, because I saw it with a new gold cover. I think he's added a new chapter to it as well. So yeah, a new edition out. Kasem, how do you mean promise to the devil exactly, and what exactly is the devil? I, at some point in one of my past lives, I pacted myself to the devil, and I became bonded to him. So, and when I talk about the devil, I'm talking about the folkloric devil. There you go, got the word out. It's the sabbatic goat, the crossroads god, the lightbringer. The devil, the folkloric devil, tends to encompass a lot of gods and godly aspects. So it's kind of like the witch's god at the end of the day. So yeah. Kerry, hello Kerry. Thanks for joining. And Dragons here. Hello, hello. Castle has been dancing Andrea to the Thunderbirds and other spirits, giving them their offerings for Yule. But been getting over this Chinese flu. Oh, goodness. Light fighters. Then, for some reason, I just don't click with the Abrahamic faith spirits, but with the gracious spirits, especially with Lucifer, Lilith, and Asmodeus, they just clicked, and my life just took off. Amazing. Good. I mean, you gotta find your groove, you know. So yeah, you've obviously found it. Kerry had a breakthrough to dare of Levy's Witch's Pyramid, to lean in on one's intuition and instinct, blending it with knowledge and gleaned from to know. I'm there and it feels good. Yep, absolutely. The Witch's Pyramid, or various other titles and names that it's gotten, it's kind of like the foundation, the cornerstone of everything that we do. You know, how you do spell work, how you form your practice, all of it kind of falls into those four principles. So yeah, to understand that is very important. Castle, desire and manifesting come from the same source of the Tao. I guess everything comes from a source. Cthulhu, hello. Rest in peace to those in Australia. Tragic. What happened in Australia? Oh, fuck. Fuck is wrong with people? If anybody doesn't know, I assume this is the news you're talking about. Let me just check the date. Yeah, 8 hours ago. In Bondi Beach, in Sydney, 11 killed after gunmen targeted a Jewish festival. Yeah. What's Muslims, probably. Talking about Jewish festival shooting, that was probably fucking Nazis. Especially in Australia, they've been rearing their ugly, disgusting heads lately. Alright, let me get back here. Sorry, Dragon. What is so special in this time of the year, and what kind of workings have greater power or meaning? Santa Claus. Santa Claus. I think Oh, you weren't here earlier. I was talking about doing planetary magic, and the one thing I've been working with a lot the past couple of months is Jupiter. And I've been using the Orphic hymns and the hymn to Jove. And while I was reciting the Orphic hymn every day to Jove, to King Jove, who is Zeus, I realized that this is Santa Claus just embodies this perfectly. It's all about goodwill, good health, abundance, wealth, prosperity. Um, it's like it's Santa Claus in it through and through. So I went and bought a Santa Claus that lights up. His batteries are getting a bit low, so I've got to go and replace them soon. And I gave him a little compartment in my bookshelf, and gave him some offerings and whatnot. As he's got some mead, he gets refreshed once a week, and I say the Orphic hymn, recite the Orphic hymn to him every morning. And I think it's a brilliant way to actually get to work. It's the joviality. I mean, the ho ho ho. Santa Claus is the pure embodiment of King Jove. It really is. And I think everybody needs prosperity and happiness and joy and everything in their life, especially after this year. Um, I think everybody should be working with Santa Claus at the moment, to be quite frank. Castle, you reminded me to get more hell money for the dead to help pass them over. Light fighter, you can sprinkle a little cinnamon in your wallet. Could do. Yeah. There's an older understanding of working with herbs in powdered form. Then in powdered form, it actually is used for cursing. Cinnamon, the cinnamon rolls, the bark itself, which is actually kind of rolled up and looks like a wad of money. That's better to work with because it actually looks like money and it represents money. So yeah, it might be a better idea to work with that. Although, I mean, I have worked with cinnamon powder or ground cinnamon myself in workings, candle magic and stuff, and it seems to work anyway. So if it works, it works, I suppose. But it's good to understand the older practices as well. Light Fighter asking about how many. Please tell us more. That's fascinating. Kerry at Dragon. In this time of year, I go within like nature. I ration necessities. Get lots of rest. Do shadow work. Get back to the basics to reinforce foundational stuff. You should have been doing the resting stuff and the going inward stuff earlier than now, because this is the changing point. This is when the sun comes back. For you, it's going away for me because I'm in the southern hemisphere. Um, yes, you should have been resting for like months up until now. Now's the time to start waking up. It's still going to take about still a month and a half until Imbolg. But it's time to start waking up now. But yeah, because I mean, after the solstice, you're starting to go back into the light half of the year. Yeah. Um. Brum, brum, brum. Um. Kerry is please say Saint Nicholas real fast. Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas. What? I'm not sure what you're getting at there. Castle, my mum's death ruined Christmas spirit. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Not nice when you have somebody close to you die at a particularly festive time of year, because it just puts a damper on everything. Andrea, that sounds like a fantastic way to celebrate Yule. Yeah, I'd say so. And I'm celebrating Midsummer, so I'm doing it anyway. I don't give a shit. Santa Claus is going to stay there for the whole freaking year. I want joy and prosperity and goodwill and good health and everything else my entire life. So Santa Claus is being celebrated year round. Um, Kasim, when I was working with Pan, he told me that Zeus and the god of Israel was another one of his faces. Really? I definitely wouldn't say that. Yeah, I can't personally. I can't see that relationship at all. Pan's very different to Zeus. Totally, very, yeah, just worlds apart. My understanding, anyway. Um, Div Castle, I can totally relate. It can be very difficult. Kerry Saint Nicholas, spoken fast. Sounds like Santa Claus. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, all right. Don't really give two hoots what it's called. I just like what he represents. That's all. Andrea Lee, you'd love my next door neighbours. Are they Santa Claus people? They've got like a giant sized Santa Claus on their front lawn or something. That would be cool. Um, Dragon Castle, the Mad, my condolences, prayers, Castle, it is, but I still dance and do my Yuletide practices. Good. Jarhead TV, hello. Any tips for a beginner to communicate with demons? I chant the N almost daily since weeks while gazing at the sigil and giving offerings, but I don't sense a presence. Patience, time, and practice. As long as you're still doing your foundational work, your foundational stuff. You just give it some time because it's a different way of experiencing something than what we're used to, and a lot of people tend to um, they tend to kind of expect something that they have already experienced, and it's often very different. So, release all expectation. Don't expect anything to happen, and just keep practicing and build. This is about building relationships. Um, and getting rid of expectation becomes quite important, actually, because especially when you're kind of doing it at the beginning, you almost get to a point of desperation where you're like, you are doing this thing, you're chanting the end, you're gazing at the sigil, you're doing whatever you're doing, and you're waiting for that thing to happen. And because you're waiting for that thing to happen, you put up a barrier, you put up a wall, and you block it. So release all expectation. Just do it for the sake of doing it, because you love doing it. That's really what you need to try and get down to. And then just see what happens and pay attention not to just what's happening during the time you are doing that work. Also pay attention to your dreams, to maybe you get communication through divination. Um, maybe you are getting a message or a pattern that keeps repeating itself. That could be a communication as well. So pay attention to everything else that's going on around you. It's not just about that one moment that you're sitting there and doing this thing. It's about your entire existence. But it's about building relationships. And if you're trying to force it, you're probably going to put up a barrier. So just keep practicing. Kerry said that Jarhead petition Duke Argaras. He will knock on walls and turn off lights. For some people. For you, yes. But not everybody. Dragon Uncle Lee, how would you combat or advise to heal existential depression? Therapy. You need to talk to a professional. A apart from that, I mean, as long as you're getting that help, then you can start looking at you can start looking at things like meditation and stuff like that. But don't. It depends on how deep it is for you. And I know it's no help me saying therapy, go and get therapy, go and seek out a therapist and all that stuff. But it's the only advice I can really give. Because I don't know what your depression's like. Everybody's different. It's difficult on a format like this. I can't really give you more advice than that. Wish I could. Kasim, Jahed, I had that same issue when trying to work with archangels. I think archangels quite easy to work with because it's so aligned with the current of Western magic, especially the four that we call with LBRP and circles and everything else. They tend to just be there all the time. Divs, I'm glad to hear that castle stays strong. Andrea, the house is lit up with Xmas lights and decorations. They live for Christmas. Don't ask about the mini village. Ooh. I tend to stay away from those because there's just too many people, and I can't handle too many people. I get very anxious. Castle pay attention to your dreams. That was a good one. That's how Astros came to me. Dreams, they tend to. I'm not much of a dreamer myself, so it's very rare that I'll get a dream communication from a spirit. But dreams, if you are a dreamer, it's one of the best ways to communicate. Definitely is. Tony, you were speaking of using the pentacles. Can you point me in the direction of more info on that? So I am doing a series on my Patreon at the moment where I am examining one pentacle each week. So if you want to get on that, it's the journal tier, the $5 tier. Just go to my Patreon. If you need the link, just let me know. I'll drop it in the chat. And what I'm doing on that, so I'm kind of taking information from Sarah Mastros's book and from Emrys Abner from his book. I prefer the Sarah Mastros book. I think she's done more practice, and she is, especially from a Jewish perspective. And her method of actually working with the pentacles is absolutely brilliant. It's amazing. I don't do it myself, but I think her method, she actually creates a book where you summon a familiar to the book, and you actually connect with the spirit of King Solomon himself through necromantic practices, and you then work with King Solomon with the pentacles and the book, and you kind of awaken the seal of Solomon by spinning it, and then you work with the pentacles. Her method is absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant. As I said, not a method that I use myself, but I think the information she's got in there is absolutely amazing. And then regarding the Psalms themselves, I then go through the Corvus's books. I don't need to get the third one soon. So these are your Corvus's books on the Psalms, which are absolutely brilliant. Don't wait. I need to see if you can actually see that. Where's my camera? There. This is part 1 and part 2, and there's a third one. But these are brilliant. They really are. I mean, it's so in depth. It's unbelievable. He goes into Jewish magic. He goes into Christian magic and how they use the Psalms. It's fantastic. I'm just doing an examination, and I'm also doing is providing the pentacle in its Paleo Hebrew form. I find I connect with it more than Hebrew text. Paleo-Hebrew it feels more flowy, feels more magical to me. It feels like one of the older scripts, the older alphabets, like Passing the River and things like that. But yeah, anyway. Light Fighter Zen at Jahed. Go through the Gracia and ask spirits to come to you and reveal themselves. Be open to any of them. Be patient. The offerings are important, and blood is the most powerful. Yeah, but don't connect with blood. Don't. I'm just gonna say, don't use blood until you've started building a relationship with a spirit, because just in case you connect with a parasite, and then you are connecting your DNA to the parasite, and that's not a good thing. So be careful with blood offerings right at the beginning. Once you've gained a connection, once you know it's the spirit you want to work with, and once you start building a relationship and you know you're going to get along with the, two of you are going to get along, then you can offer blood, but I wouldn't offer it early on. Not a good idea. Jarhead, thank you very much. It helps to hear that this is normal and need to keep doing it. Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely normal. We all go through it. It's just, I think what's difficult for a lot of people just starting out with this with spirit work is that, you listen to people like me who have been doing it for like 20, 30 years, and therefore we've gotten to that point where I wouldn't say it. Well, it has become easy because we've done it so many times that it's not like it's a new thing anymore. And we know how that communication comes through now, and it comes through differently for everybody. But we've experienced it, and we know how it comes through for us individually. And then everybody kind of expects it to happen for them instantly, and it doesn't. I mean, all of us. It can take years before you get a proper communication. Some people, it's instant. There's just something about some people that have a gift. I don't have the gift. I have to work at it. I have to work at everything. So, yeah. But, yeah, we've all been through it. Castle, get a statue of a demon you want to work on and cleanse it and welcome that spirit in. That's another way to do it. Although it's very difficult to get a statue of the Gracious Spirit. Unless if somebody's overseas has printed them, 3D printed them or something. But anyway. Dragon, what is the relationship between the angels and archangels and the demons of the Gracia? I'm going to say very little. I'm not one of these people. I don't follow the Dr. Rudge idea that the 72 angels of the Shem are aligned with the 72 spirits of the Gracia. I don't believe in that at all, and there's several reasons why. If that's what you're talking about, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all, to be honest with you. Right, where am I? Carriot Dragon, have you tried a hobby photography? For the depression. Hobby might be a good idea. I don't use blood as an offering, was never asked. They prefer my time or access service. Go ahead. Crazy question. Could a necromantic magician evoke Carl Gustav Jung and do psychotherapy with him? Probably, yeah. I'm not going to say no, because we can call any spirit we want to, really, of the dead. So yeah, not going to be easy, but you could do. And you might find that the interactions are very, very short and, kind of drift in and out. So it might be a bit difficult to do psychotherapy. but you can get some hints here and there. You could ask for guidance. You could do that. That would be probably a better idea, is to call on Young, um, do a necromantic meal or something, and sit and talk to him and ask for help and guidance, and then you'll probably find you'll get guided to particular people or particular books that can help you. That could be an option. Kerry, talk to your HGA. Could do that as well, but not everybody's has knowledge and conversation. Not everybody's got to the point where they have that experience yet. So again, it comes down to where somebody's at. Castle foundation work is important when working with spirits. Without a foundation, you have to. Foundation work's important with any kind of magic, anything. Absolutely, you have to have good foundations. If you have shaky foundations and they're built in sand, then when you start to do the real work, you find that everything just collapses and falls down, and you have spiritual psychosis and all sorts of stuff that you have to go through. It's not worth it. Do the foundational work and make sure your foundations are strong before you start building your house on top of it. Jono. Hello, Jono. It's been a while. White Fighters M. Sometimes I get so excited with these spirits and tend to dive into the offerings quickly. I would agree. Start slowly with the spirit and go from there. It's a personal relationship. Yeah, absolutely. Kasem, I did hear that the energy of the spirit lives on separately. So, say the soul of Winston Churchill will reincarnate, but the spirit energy of the man lives on to communicate with. I don't think anybody can really give a definitive. Try that again. A definitive answer of what actually happens after death. I have my own personal ideas, and my own understanding of what happens. There's only a small portion of it, and I keep having experiences that challenge that idea, and I can't get things to fit properly, and I don't think I ever will. And this is where we kind of talk about witchcraft and magic being full of paradoxes, because it is. So what happens when somebody dies? I don't really know. As I said, I work on the idea of the cosmic soup. So all of our souls get mixed up with all thousands and millions of other souls from everywhere, including gods, including demons, including fae, including everything. Rocks, plants, all of the spirits all get mixed up. And then a big blob gets taken out, put into the next body. But it's not a pure soul. I know a lot of faiths and traditions and religions and stuff have this idea of this pure soul. I don't believe in a pure soul going from incarnation to incarnation. But as far as the spirit that we communicate with, I don't really know. I mean, there's so many understandings, so many different perspectives and worldviews on it that I can't give you a straight answer, really. But they're there. You can talk to them. You can call them back. I mean, I think the biggest problem here, actually, I'm just going to carry on rattling on. I think the biggest problem here is that we tend to think of everything working in linear time, and it doesn't. So we kind of have this idea that we live, we get to a point where we die, and then something happens after that, right? And therefore the soul has to do this and do that, and it goes here and it goes there, and there's this parts of the soul that all do all these different things. One part stays behind, one part goes on, and then the progression continues. But that time parameter, the linear time, doesn't exist. So from the time, see, I can't even do this in English language properly. from the time you're born to the time you die, and beyond that and before that, is all happening. So this is why we talk about ancestors gone and yet to come, is because our ancestors aren't just the people that have died before us, they are also the people that have died after us, because there is no time. This is where paradoxes come into play and everything gets fun. And why we can't give a definitive answer of why all of this happens. I think you get the picture. I'm going to stop rambling now, and I'm going to carry on with the chat, because I'm going to lose my place again. Jahed, Castle, what are the fundamentals from your view? Foundations. I'll check if Castle answered that, and then I'll give you mine as well. Does lead you have any prior experience working with the hamster hand? I actually haven't worked with it a lot. No, not really. I don't really work with the evil eye much either, or whatever the name what it was given. I think mostly because before I encountered these particular things, I'd already done a lot of protection and warding work, so I already had everything in place, so I didn't need that extra bit. And when I came to Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism, there were particular things within practical Kabbalah which were protective that I was using, and that just didn't seem to fall into my wheelhouse at any particular time. But very powerful, extremely powerful. I mean, the hamster hand as an amulet is it's fantastic, it really is. I'm not sure why you're asking. Maybe there's a reason. We can discuss that. Dragon, I'm going to therapy, so thanks for the advice and well wishes, but I was asking for some meditation or spirit for mental problems, just for extra help. As for the problem, it's OCD for the afterlife. I don't think there's anything particular. I think it's a conglomeration of everything that you do within magic. So, I don't want to say do meditation, because meditation encompasses so many things. And then we have to start getting into what form of meditation, what's the aim of the meditation that you're trying to do. But then is it if you start working with spirits, you're going to need to do meditation to get into trance states and learn how to get into trance states and levels of trance states, so you can do journey work, and then go and speak to the spirits in their realms and things like that, and etc., 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 etc. But you're also going to have to do energy work. That's probably, if you're looking at a particular area of practice that will help you, I would say energy work. Speak to Castle regarding Qigong, anything which gets the energy circulating properly, because that's going to help you with everything in your various energy bodies, including the physical body, what the Jewish mystics would call the guh. It's the physical body, and that's considered to be an energy body. I know everybody kind of thinks physical is separate to energy. No, it's not. Coming back to everything vibrates. So, if you're doing something which is circulating the energies properly, and this can come in many forms, not just Qigong. It could be Tai Chi, it could be yoga, it could be tensegrity, it could be Falun Dafa, it could be there's a whole lot of other ones that have come up in these chats, different forms. It could be Kundalini work, Kundalini Tantra, where you're actually just working with the chakras. There's just loads and loads and loads of different systems you can actually have a look at from different cultures as well. But what's going to happen is your energy is going to start moving properly, which feeds your nervous system, it feeds your physical organs, it feeds your physical body, your skin, everything else. Once that starts to be fed, that again leads back into the energy, the causal, the mental body, the emotional body, the astral body, the etheric body, all of these different energy bodies, and it starts to affect all of them. So if you're going to target one particular aspect of spiritual work, occultism, magical work, I would actually say work with the energy. It would be my advice. Um, Castle, LBR, GBR, hexagram rituals, make it easy for the guy. Know one's self, a balance is always key, shadow work, and know your center. Cleansing work on yourself and the place you work on. Okay. If you're a ceremonial magician, if you're not a ceremonial magician, you're not going to be doing LBR, GBR, and hexagram rituals. Um, you know what I mean? And what? Hang on a minute. What's? Oh, but what? Which LBR? You haven't said pentagram or hexagram. Get your acronyms right there. Um, oh shit. I'm really behind now. Okay, let's speed up a bit. Castle, get herbs, talismans, know the moon. Okay, that's also various different aspects. Whatever your spiritual practice is, can work with them. Old spirits like jinn and other elementals. Light fighter, Zen, agreed. What works for me might not work for you. Everyone is so unique and different. It's amazing. Yeah, that's what I like about everybody. We're all different. Jono, I'm jumping in midstream. Forgive me. You're talking about the importance of foundations. That's the first four chapters into a medics. I don't get it right half the time, but that's it. Okay, yeah. If anybody doesn't know Jono absolutely adores Franz Barden. I think Franz Barden is his daddy. um, Kerry at had meditation, breathwork, which is pyramid, dialectic behavior therapy. Thank you guys for sharing your perspectives. Castle, I work with both demons and angels, so don't listen to me. But I'm a medicine man, so spirits are fairly easy for me to work with. Storm, is that right? Hang on. I have to get these handles right. Stormy Garvin, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. This is, for anybody who is new here, this is the Covenstead and no particular topic. Ask whatever you want to, make whatever comments you want to, and we'll get into discussions about it. Jahed, lead. I hope I'm saying your name right, by the way, Jahed. Um, do you have experience with jinns, iblis? If so, can you share your experience? I don't because I'm not Arabic. I think that is a very, very particularly cultural thing, and I don't have any connection with that culture. As you can tell, a very white man. So I don't get into that. The only background I really have is some of the mythology from the Quran and things like that, but it's very basic. If, however, we do consider the spirits of the Goetia to be Jinn, that's where my experience lies. I'm still in two minds. I don't think the spirits of the Goetia, I think they're egregores, to tell you the truth. Because it was just the Ars Goetia is a conglomeration of three, maybe four different older grimoires. Um, and the spirits are probably just herbivores. Who is this? Oh, it's typo negative. That sounded really good. Where am I now? Dragon, what is synchronicity? I was obsessing with the afterlife, but in fear rather than curiosity and hope. Well, this is one thing you might want to consider from this particular perspective. There's no end. There's only a change. And I think this is one of our difficulties in our Western society is that we kind of focus so much on our physical selves, our identities, that the thought of that identity being removed is terrifying. And that's where the fear comes in a lot of the time. We don't have an identity when we die, and there's this kind of like moment where everything ends, but it doesn't. It's just we continue on to something else. So it's worth examining, and I think this is why where necromancy becomes quite important is because it's not about necromancy isn't just about talking with the dead, or it isn't nowadays anyway. It's about the exploration of your own mortality, of where you're going to go, what's going to happen, all that stuff, and coming to terms with it, knowing that you're going to die, and understanding that. But yeah, light fighter, paradoxes abound, lion, tigers, and bears. Oh my, paradoxes are everywhere. But I'm not sure where the lions, tigers, and bears came from. Dragon, isn't the evil eye just concentrating on target with an intention through the eyes? That's one way of it, yeah, one way of doing it. But the more common aspect of the evil eye is a group of people who are just jealous, and you find this with a lot of celebrities tend to get attacked by the evil eye because they have large groups of people who are jealous of them. That's usually where it comes from. But witch blinking, or not witch, owl blinking, is a witchcraft method where you gaze at a person a particular way and you transfer energy to them. But yeah. Jono, time conversions are fun. Yeah. When you start thinking in these ways, it changes your way of thinking about life. But even a good way, if it doesn't drive you crazy, think about it first. Oh, I've been crazy for a long, long, long time, so I've got nothing to worry about anymore. But yeah. Castle, I do the egg-shaped gold and purple light for protection and flaming swords. But death has touched me, and I work with her. Stormy Garvin. If I have a question, do I put it all caps? No, just put it in the chat. I'll eventually get to it. We don't. It's not like I have thousands of people in my lives, so I get through all of them. So just put it in the chat normally. Kyriak Dragon, Kali taught me that all of creation is racing towards destruction, and this is the natural order of things. So I try to enjoy the present. Don't worry about an afterlife. Yeah. Castle, need to do Neigong and Qigong together. Opening the lesson in greater orbits are important. It took me about 12 years to really open everything and be relaxed but firm at the same time. That's an important aspect, is the length of time it actually takes. I mean, we start doing the foundational work and the energy work and all that stuff, and it's not like you kind of sit down and you do it and you get this all of a sudden you feel something. That's kind of like that. It's just this burst of change that happens, but then you carry on and you don't really notice any difference because you've already like broken through that first barrier. Um, so you have to keep doing it, and you keep doing it for a long, long period of time, and then you start getting into it. You start understanding how the energy flows and stuff. But it's not an immediate thing. I think too many people think that we kind of start doing this stuff, and that's it. Now we're like pros at it. Nah, it takes a long time. Um, Tetra, hello Tetra. This is Clone Boy from Discord. Discord, hello, hello. First time on Covenstead. Oh, well, glad you could join us. Story, yes, yes, you are. I'm not sure what I am anymore. Dragon, I think that's part of it. Kerry. Creation is going through destruction, sure, but it must be cyclical. Something is created. It falls apart and something new is created from its parts and essence. Yeah, yeah. Everything goes through cycles. At the moment, regarding talking to Kali, it's probably these cycles tend to be like thousands and thousands of years. It's not our smaller cycles, which are daily and monthly and annual and things like that. It's like the great year kind of thing, which is great year 28,000 or 64,000 years. I don't know, can't remember. Kasim, so do you think all spirits are egregores, or do you think spiritual energy influenced the foundation of these spirits? So I think a majority of the spirits that people work with nowadays are egregores. But when we talk about egregores, everybody's like, "Oh, my god's not an egregore." Egregores are powerful. They're not like you know, um, like play acting or anything like that. I mean, egregores are powerful beings. Um, but I think when when somebody or when an egregore is formed and created, and then over hundreds of years, uh, lots and lots and lots of people work with that egregore or worship that egregore. I'm trying to change my language from getting out that work with. Um, when thousands and millions of people form a relationship with that particular egregore, it becomes stronger and stronger. But that egregore is birthed from an idea which started somewhere, and that starting point was probably a god. And the difficulty here is, where does that start? Because if we have, let's say we have an original god, okay, and I'm not even going, this isn't even going back to archetypes, this is like an original god. Then over thousands of years, people worship this god. And at some point, it starts to move into through trading and migrations from country to country and all of this stuff. This god goes to a different area of the planet, and they start working or worshipping this god there. But through broken telephone, it becomes slightly different. So now you've got the original god and this egregore that forms from that, but that's still connected to the original god, which is connected to the original mold or the archetype. Okay, and then over thousands of years, it moves to a different area, and then it starts breaking into these various different egregores because each culture or each region that starts working with this spirit gives it a slightly different twist. And then you've got all of these different egregores. And I mean, speaking about the Goetia specifically, as I said, that the Goetia is a grimoire which was written by one particular magician who just happened to work he created this particular form of magic, or was taught it by somebody, and he documented it, and it just happened to be going to print at some point in history. But this was his notebook. You got to remember, grimoires are notebooks. They're not like, we kind of think of them as full, complete systems of magic, but they're not. They're a magician's notebook, and there's lots of things missing from it. But these are the spirits that this particular person worked with. But it was from this grimoire and that grimoire, you know, the original Testament of Solomon and all of this stuff. And the names are different from all of those grimoires. It's possible, I mean, when we work with spirits, we usually or often given a name. The spirit gives us a name to work with, and it's exclusive. It's nobody else gets that name but you. So it's quite possible that this person just wrote this name down, and it became the name of the spirit and everything else. And as I said, it was his notebook, his personal notebook. Wasn't supposed to be published publicly, but you know, because of there's the possibility that they're egregores because they are not the original spirits which were in those original grimoires, and even in those original grimoires, they were probably taken from somewhere else. So, you know, there's this broken telephone effect that starts going through. I am rambling again. And it's possible it becomes the egregores, but at the same time, it could be that, as I said, he worked with spirits which were jinn, and he was given a name. Each one gave them a personal name for him to use, or her to use. I don't know. Don't know who really wrote the Osguratia. And that's the name that got put into the grimoire. So it's, you know, we can't really know for certain, but we can only really speculate. Anyway, let me carry on, because I know there's a big long list of stuff in the chat here. Now I've lost my bloody place. Right. Okay. Stormy Goblin. My question is, I have an evil, literally neighbor. He is narcissist. A lot to say, but he has poisoned 3 of my rescue dogs, including beating and finally poisoning his own. I think somebody said down here, file charges. I completely agree. Go to the police. That's the absolute first thing you do. The second thing you do is call on somebody. If you want to work with spirits, if that's what you're asking, work with Andras. Andras is a really good one. Glaciolabalos as well. And curse the hell out of them. Is it Vepar? I can't remember the one that gives the sores that fester and kill the person within 3 days. No, not Zepar. It wasn't Zepar. Hang on. Yeah, no. Get rid of the guy. Get him arrested. Seriously. That's just sick. That's disgusting. Maybe it was Vepar. Oh, hold on. Oh yes, that's the mermaid one. Yes, Vepar. Maketh men to die in 3 days by putrefying wounds or sores and causing worms to breed in them. Perfect solution. There you go. Yeah. Let's see, you've got more down here. Hold on, I'll get to it now then. Andrea Hex the Bastard, yeah. Jono Sledger's last video I saw explained with academic research that the Goetia was started as a joke. That was actually in regards to Lilith. to make fun of Kabbalists. Interesting. That was actually Lilith. The alphabet of Ben Sirah, where the story of Lilith being the first woman to lie with Adam, and she wouldn't lie beneath him, she would only lie on top of him, and then she was kicked out, and blah, all that whole story that people go on about being the mythology of Lilith was a comedy. It was a parody. It was a complete joke. It was absolutely brilliant. It's fascinating. Because we have this Lilith, this modern Lilith, which again has to be an egregore because it's got nothing, absolutely nothing to do with what Lilith was or is. The evolution from the Lily and the Lulu and Lamashtu, etc., and Lilitu, etc. That was a child-killing entity. And the Lilith that people worship now is nothing to do with that. In my understanding, it's an egregore. But yeah, no, that's the whole story about Lilith. It was a comedy. It's lovely. Stormy Garvin, the neighborhood 34-year-old arse harasses not only me, my autistic child and animals. Cops are afraid of him and don't do nothing. What the fuck is wrong with people? Seriously. Yeah. Andras, Glaciolavelos, Vepar. Throw them all at this guy and they'll all be very happy. Hecate. Hecate will go absolutely insane on somebody like that, especially in regards to dogs. Just ask her to go have a feeding and she will cut him down. And I don't mean that figuratively, I mean that literally. Yeah, no, it needs to be taken down 20 or 30 notches, seriously. Castor, I'm not allowed to say what to do. Storm. Okay. Divs, in regards to the Hamster Hand, I'm new to stumbling across it through a set of strange synchronicities, and your view of things are always most helpful. If your question is it a powerful symbol, amulet, etc.? Oh yes, absolutely. It really is. It's ancient. It's been used by thousands and thousands of people, and because of that, it's got a lot of power behind it. So yeah, it's great. It really is. Jahed, how can one connect deities without a sigil N, like Mahakala or Sobek? See, this is where modern demonolatry has really done a disservice. Is that everybody thinks that we have to have a sigil and an N to work with a spirit, and prior to all of that, there were none. You would just build a relationship. So you can sit down, if you can get an image of the deity, then print it out, put it in a frame, put it on your altar, sit there and build a relationship, talk to them. Go and seek out poetry that was written about them. You know, if the entity is Greek, the god's Greek or goddess is Greek, then you know you've got the Orphic hymns. If it's Nordic, you've got the sagas and the Eddas and all of that stuff. You've got all these stories. You've got poetry. You've got prayers. You've got invocations and evocations, and there's been multitudes of stuff that has been written about gods and goddesses throughout the world and different cultures. Immerse yourself in it. And when you immerse yourself in it, your attention is focused on that particular spirit. Once your attention is focused on something, that's where all the energy goes. And it's like, you know, it's like calling, just the attention is like calling out to the spirit. It gets his attention. But also verbalize it. You know, if you get a prayer or you get I mean, you mentioned Mahakali. I assume that's Kali, not Kala. Um, you know, there's stotrans or stotras. There's Gayatri mantras. There's all of the stuff within Hindu faith. It's just it's everywhere. There's tons and tons and tons of prayers and devotions and everything else. Just immerse yourself in it. And this is what invocation or evocation was all about before the ends and the sigils and everything else. Is that, you know, if you want to, let's say, invoke a planetary spirit, for instance, let's say it's Jupiter, you want to invoke the planetary spirit of Jupiter, then the Orphic hymns, go and find out all of the correspondences, you know, put a blue light in your light fitting, or put a blue filter over the light or something like that, and use the number 4. There's 4 directions, so you can put something in 4 directions. You know, you kind of like take all of these correspondences and you completely and utterly immerse yourself in it, and you align yourself with it. You bring yourself into the same vibrational state. And this is how you work with spirits. And you build a relationship, and you continue that over and over and over again for days and weeks and months and years, and you form a bond, you form a relation, you form a friendship, a devotional love bonding. It's, yeah, go for it, do it all. But yeah, okay. Got loads and loads of messages. All right, let me get through this. Stormy Goblin, Kerry, I did. She likes the cops and judge. Yeah, people will do that. There's probably other things you can do physically. If you can take pictures, if you can keep records and things like that, usually they get taken seriously by the police. But as you said, you're not having much luck there. So just curse the hell out of them. Same as I'd be doing. Kerry, how can you lie when the cops have an investigation open? Because cops are useless. Jahed, could you please share your impression of Belial? I heard he is quite tough and can lead to dangerous situations. He's very tough. He's a taskmaster. He doesn't go two shits if you are going through a bad time. He'll carry on pushing you through it. So if that's the kind of thing you need, it's fine. You know, not for everybody, especially not for somebody who hasn't worked with spirits before. Kind of a difficult one to work with is Belial. But at the same time, he's kind of like that the father figure that is very strict, but is very loving at the same time. So yeah, but yeah, no. If you're new to spirit work, I definitely wouldn't go down that avenue to begin with. That's down the line type of thing. Stormy Garvin, this neighbor is like he has a protective dome. What can I do? You could create a servitor that acts like a worm, and also acts like a virus. I was going to do this in a particular circumstance recently. I still haven't gotten around to actually forming it. But what it basically would do is it eats away at the protective barrier, And if the protective barrier has some kind of detection, you know, maybe there's a spirit that detects whether, you know, it's being tampered with or something. As soon as the worm is detected, it kind of disappears from that point and appears in two places, two different points. And every time it's detected, it just multiplies. It keeps multiplying. And then you have hundreds and hundreds of worms that are eating away at the protective barrier. And continues to keep multiplying over and over and over and over again. And you can feed it with the actual energy from the protective barrier. As it's eating, it feeds, it eats. So yeah. They don't do investigations here in Crestview, Florida. Bloody police. Dragon, call the cops. I don't know the law on this, but poisoning animals has to be illegal at best criminal offense. Apart from the cops, there must also be a. Here it's called the SPCA, the Society for the Protection of Cruelty to Animals. There's got to be an organisation where you are. There is everywhere in the world. Contact them and tell them what's going on. They'll do an investigation. Might be useless as well, depends on your area, but you know, try everything. Head, how did you get into magic and how did it impact you? Oh god, it's one of those questions. Big ones again. I was always interested in the supernatural ever since I was a kid. When I was 12, well, when I was 10, turning 11, we came to South Africa, and I was kind of like the outcast almost, because I was in a strange country. I didn't know anybody and everything else. So I used to go hide in the public library, and I discovered various occult books and found it fascinating and started learning. And through my teen years, I was being a teenager, but I carried on doing it, things here and there, and then just carried on. How has it impacted me? Well, it's just part of my life, so I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth. It's just part of my lifestyle, really. Stormy. Paws. Paws are the animal crops here. They have to catch the person, otherwise nothing. Curse. Just curse. Just curse. Curse. Wipe out of existence. Carry out Stormy. They are very active in abuse cases and have regional affiliates. Obviously not all of them. Jahed, is society itself kind of what niche called herd mentality, also an egregore that influences us energetically? Yes. Oh yes. Egregores are everywhere as well. You know, and we're influenced by egregores all the time. There's a brilliant book by Mark Stavish about egregores. Go and have a look at it. Brilliant explanation. He also explains how to remove yourself and disconnect from egregores, because we are connected to egregores all over the place. You know, the biggest, most powerful egregore in our Western society is the Christian Church. It's just huge. It's humongous, and it's bloody stronger than anything. It's starting to get a few blows here and there and coming down, but yeah, it'll take some more time. But yeah, herd mentality, definitely. You know, yeah, I even see it when with people coming into paganism and occultism, still got herd mentality. You know, kind of, and it's how they get scammed so easily as well. You know, quite sad, really. Stormy at Kerry, I've sent audios to pause, but because that doesn't see it, they don't do nothing. Sorry to hear that. That's really not fun at all. Damn it. Must be place again. If I scroll too far, it skips right down to the bottom, and then I can't. I have to try and find my place again. So I'm really going to have to start getting through this chat quicker. Okay, Jonah, I've done some stuff with Aphrodite, whether she's an egregore or a spirit, our interactions were very real and she was really strong. Yeah, that's what I say. Egregores, kind of people hear the word egregore and they go, oh, no, that's a weak little thing. No, it's not. They're powerful entities. They really are. Kerry, call the National Humane Society. There you go. There's another option. That's a good one. Kerry, John Agaras has knocked loudly on my walls at all hours of the night. Okay. I'm not sure what that has to do with Aphrodite. Anyway. I do feel like I miss stuff every now and again. There are... Oh, I only got this on the live chat. I can't change it now. There are some times when messages go missing, so if you feel I haven't read your message, just give me a shout. Stormy, I'm a fighter and used all the legal resources here, but he gets off every time and nothing happens. If you only knew all of the other things like broken glass in my yard to hurt my child and dog. Yeah. Hecate would really, really just go bananas on this guy. Jahed, what are your thoughts on mysticism, individuation, true will, Taoism in the context of magic? That's like an encyclopedia worth of answers that I could give, yeah. That's very large topics, so I'm not really going to answer that now. I'm trying to get through the thing, yeah. If you've got any specific questions, I can answer them, but that's like, what's the meaning of lifetime questions? Sorry. Dragon. So an egregore is like a clone created from the original god or being that is still connected to the original and can have egregores of its own. The Japanese have concept of this a buri or summit. That's what I believe it is, yeah. An egregore is created by people, by thought. It starts off out as a thought form, and as more and more people come together and believe in it, and follow it, and worship it, and build relationship with it, they connect to that energy, like the way I was explained by a Russian dude years ago. It's like this cloud that forms, and everybody starts connecting energetically to this cloud. And the more people that connect, the bigger it grows, the stronger it grows, the more independent, more sentient it becomes. So, if you've got a god or even an egregore which represents particular things, and then another culture comes along and kind of takes that idea and but they change it here and there to fit in with their own society, then it becomes something different, but it's still the same, it's still part of that original. So, going back to archetypes, you have this mold of horn gods, but out of horn gods came Pan and Cernunnos and Hern and all of these horn deities. But they were formed from the original mold, from the original archetype, and then etc. 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 So it's kind of like the idea anyway. Kerry Lee, how can we help with this offensive person? What you could do is get onto. I don't know if you're part of my Discord. Hang on, let me just grab the link. We can discuss magic work over there. If anybody wants to do group work for the particular cause, then we can do that. I've also got the Punk Magic Patreon where we were going to actually do stuff like this. The intention was to create a group on the Punk Magic Patreon, and any particular causes we can then all go and do magic towards that. I think that's probably a better place. It's more focused on that. Let me give you the link to the Patreon. Now, if anybody who's not on there, go. It's free. You don't have. There is a tier for it if you want to support it, but you don't have to. And there's particular chats on there. There it is. So yeah, I still need to set up the chat group for that, but I'll do it this coming week. And then yeah, we can actually focus on this particular thing as a cause. Jahed, what? Oh, sorry, hang on. I think I've missed. Oh, sorry, did that one. Jono, Stormy, I don't feel good giving this advice, but I believe there's a time and place for negative workings. You can do a binding spell. That's super easy. Yeah, I'd just go for a straight out curse. Really would. For somebody like that, who's harming my autistic child and killing my dogs, just curse. And I'm talking the real, far end of the curse spectrum there. Kerry, are you a writer on no, okay. Stormy and Jono, I have from White Raven. Not sure if she's a true source to listen to. I haven't heard of White Raven. Okay, I'm going to head off now. Okay, have a good one. Great coming chat. Sorry, you've probably gone already, but cheerio. Andrea, Stormy, Bind and Hex. I'd be happy to help. Andrea, Wonderland. Kerry, I don't ever think of myself in right on path, left on path terms. It is just that it is good evil isn't what we should be thinking about. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Kerry, you are correct, my friend. It's a matter of ethics, I think. Buffering. Am I buffering? Am I still buffering? I hope I'm not buffering anymore. What's going on? YouTube's changed its whole live screen here. It's really weird now. That's excellent. Okay, I don't think I'm buffering anymore. Jahed, thank you for clearing this misconception of mine. Okay, no problem. And sending you positive energy. Dragon, good point. I forgot that Hecate has dogs as her pets or companions, and that she has authority over home protection and ghosts. So yes, Hecate is the most logical choice in the spirit side of things. Yeah, I've done some work with Hecate. She can be quite violent sometimes. She would be great for that. Jono, think of it like this. I care about other people a lot of the time to my detriment, but regardless, I try to do right by everyone till it's curse time, which I don't take lightly. Oh, you should definitely not take curse times lightly. For me, they are extremely rare, but in a case like that, that's when all the claws come out. Carry out Jono, same here. However, in my advocacy, I've been known to succumb to righteous rage. Stormy at Dragon, is that why my Luke stands by my side when I do my craft? Probably. Yeah, animals are very sensitive to energies and stuff, and if your pet is comfortable in your space when you're doing your craft, it's probably a good indication that you're doing it right. Because if you're doing it wrong and you bring in very discordant energies, and parasitic energies and things like that, animals, the pets are not going to like it, and you're going to know instantly. So they're a brilliant indication of the kinds of energies you're actually working with. Very good. Fire signs, Leo, Sag, Jono, no, stifle the righteous indignation until you can't anymore, and that's when you do ceremonial magic. What's ceremonial magic got to do with anything? Dragon, oh yes, I remembered. If anyone wants to listen to mythological tales in a new and exciting way, you should check Living Mythology. It's great. Is that on YouTube? Oh, no, it's gone on. Skipped again. Hang on. Let me get back. Here we go. Is Living Mythology on YouTube? I'll get to the answer just now, I'm sure. You know, John, are you guys seeing the movie Weapons? I did see that. I can't remember what it's about now. Hang on. I'm sure I recommended it on here. Weapons. Yes, that was brilliant. I love that movie. It was very good. And I love that actress. She was in Ozarks. She's brilliant. Love her. Johnny, Jono saw it, loved it. We've talked about this before. Stormy, I'll do research about Hecate now. Thank you to everyone for hearing my cry for help. I learned a lot. As long as it helped. As I said, if you want help from a group of people, you can always go join the punk magic thing. I mean, when it comes to punk, it's all about against abuse of children, against abuse of animals, all of that stuff. So, you know, punks will have you back, to put it that way. Kerry, I loved Gladys. Was Gladys? Wait, are we still talking about weapons? I can't remember names and things. I don't remember names. Andrea, Kerry, sorry for forgetting about our conversation. John or Uncle Lee, in 20x minutes when you get to this comment. Yeah, sorry about that. I love your head so much. You have a beautiful... Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me just do this so you can see the magnificence of the boldness. Kerry as well. Thank you so much. So I know the camera's there, I've got a screen here, and I've got a screen here where I'm reading everything. Sorry about that. Yeah. I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah. Andrea, you gotta tell me I've got a beautiful head. There you go. Could you share a situation in context of magic that blew your mind and thought this is impossible? Oh no, don't ask me to do things like this. I can't remember. A most recent one. It's one of the tales I like to tell when it ever comes up about working with nature spirits. So I was going to, there's a river, I call it a river, it's probably actually a stream, down the road from me in a park, right? And before the rich people put up a bloody fence now. You can't, it's a public park, but you can't go into it. I hate rich people. But yeah, when I was going in there, it was a couple of years back, and I all the rubbish comes downstream, especially when it rains. You know, that's like torrents and torrents of water, and all the rubbish from upstream comes down. So there's always rubbish in the river. So I said to the nature spirits when I started going there, I will come. I'll bring a bag with me, and I'll pick up the rubbish each time I come. I mean, as I said, there's lots of rubbish, so I needed like a big, huge, big black bag. And every time I went back there, I kept forgetting to take a bag with me. So the one day I finally remembered to take a bag, and I jumped down into the riverbed, and I was going to walk down to where the rocks are and start picking rubbish up down there. And I hit this wall of energy, and it was, you can feel it. It was visceral. It was, I mean, it was like I hit this wall, and I had to stop. And I knew if I went any further, these spirits would kill me. And I stopped, and I said, "Okay, I have brought it back. I'm going to do it." And they were just like, it gave me this impression that if I did not stop picking up rubbish as I had promised, they are going to kill me. So I took the bag out, and I picked up some rubbish. I picked up a bottle or something, and I put it in the bag, and I went, "There you go." And all of a sudden, the wall just dropped, and I was allowed to walk through. That was a very interesting experience. I've had other experiences like that. I do remember years and years ago. It was similar where there was this big, there was like almost like a crop of datura, Jimson weed, and I was really interested in the red lady at the time. So I was like, experimenting and everything else. And I went to, there was some, if you know Jimson weed, it's the devil's apple. It grows the seed pods, and it's like spiky. And if you grab it, it really, it pricks your hand and your fingers. And I kind of grabbed one, and it pierced my fingers. And I instantly felt this huge presence. It was like this massive presence, and it was the lady of Tatura, the red lady, and I shat myself. I sprinted as fast as I could across the park to my car, got in, and drove away. I just shat myself so much, and I felt this thing chasing me. And I realized afterwards, like years later, that it was probably just like chasing me down to say, "Hey, you called me. I'm just interested to say hello." The ones I kind of enjoy. Anyway, carrying on, because I'm going to get build up of messages again. Yes, I'll go there when the fall. Okay, good stuff. Jono, what was Gladys going to do with the children she summoned in the movie Weapons? Oh, okay. I heard, can curses cause negative consequences for the person that does the curse? Oh, yes, absolutely. You must remember, when you do magic, you're connected to it. You are energetically bound to that magic. So if you do a curse, you're energetically bound to it. This is why people talk about doing bindings. You are definitely bound to that. You only really do bindings to loved ones, people you love, because what you're doing, you are almost like wrapping them in a blanket to stop them from harming themselves, and you're taking all the responsibility onto yourself. So this is why we talk about bindings, and everybody like throws, do a binding on this person around like it's candy. Got to be very careful with these things. It's not something you take lightly. So when you do magic work, any magic work, you are energetically bound to the work, because you're doing it. It's part of you. It comes from you. So yes, when you're cursed, you can definitely have some effects. And if your curse is not warranted, then my own understanding is that everything has to remain in balance. So if somebody's done something to you, you do a curse on them to counter that balance, to bring balance back. So that's justified. But if you do a curse on somebody and it's not justified, that's going to come back on you. I mean, it's just got to, the scales have got to come back into balance. So be careful when you're doing any kind of magic. If you don't want to be energetically tied to a person, don't do the magic. But if you do, you've got to take on that responsibility. There's no way around it. Thank you, Andrea. I have a very beautiful head. Yes, I know. Jono, she was sucking out the life force to stay vital. Oh yes, yeah, that was it. And then they all escaped. Oh yeah, that was quite a violent scene at the end there. Carrie Lee, is it possible that Agaras was with me before I petitioned him? I see his hand in my life before knowing him. It's quite possible. As I said, I mean, we kind of like, we have these, there's a variety of reasons this could happen, but we could have been bonded to particular spirits in previous lifetimes. But at the same time, you might find that spirits that align with your own vibrational frequency are going to be around you because they just kind of like, they're, I think we can probably think of this like a ray. So that's you in the center, right? And then you've got like a layer of people, spirits, and everything which are aligned with your own frequency. That's why they're so close. And then outside there, less aligned, less aligned, less aligned, less aligned, etc., etc., etc. So it's this kind of like ray that starts to happen. I think ray is a bad term, but yeah, going to use that anyway because I can only think of that. So yeah, keep the ones that are aligned with your own frequency are going to be close to you because they circulate around that energy. They're attracted to the energy, so they'll probably be with you all the time. And then at some point you might decide to pop up and say hi, and that will bring that energy closer for a period of time. So it could be. Am I buffering? Was I buffering again? Bloody hell. Just check it's working alright now. Looks alright. Alright. Jono, you're back. I don't know where you went. I replayed Uncle showing his head so many times. Fuck off. Just love the Datura story. It was really funny. I don't think I've ever shut myself that much in my life. Ahead, are there entities or magical systems you regard as very dangerous? From what I heard, Enochian magic sounds very intense and dangerous. I think all magic is dangerous to some degree. It can all be dangerous. I don't think any particular system is inherently more dangerous than another one. Even the simplest thing in magic, if it's done wrong or it's done hastily, it can be dangerous. It can ruin your life forever. I mean, there's particular exercises and practices that you do in traditional witchcraft that can completely and utterly fuck up your energy for the rest of your life. And you'll never ever get back to where you were. Enochian magic, I don't think it's inherently dangerous. It's just the spirits are annoying as hell. And a lot of people find that as soon as they're connected to it, the spirits don't leave them alone. And it becomes invasive. And that's just, but yeah, not really dangerous. It's just annoying. Will a person that works with Tiamat automatically bring chaos in their life? Probably. But you'll probably find that somebody who builds a relationship with Tiamat is already a chaotic person. I had a boss years ago that used to call me the god of chaos because he believed that I loved chaos. I don't like chaos, or at least I don't think I do. But I was married to my ex-wife at the time, and I can kind of see why he would think that. Because at the time, yeah, life was just a fucking roller coaster. But yeah, you'll probably find that people are chaotic to begin with, and that's just how their life is. That's how they function, and that's why they may be attracted to a spirit like Tiamat, because it suits them, you know. I don't think anybody who is particularly, I don't really want to say ordered, because that's not really the opposite of chaos. Settled, you know, kind of like not chaotic. I don't think they would be attracted to a spirit like Tiamat. So, yeah, I think it's got to do with, again, coming back to resonance. You know, the spirits that are attracted to us and the spirits that we're attracted to are probably on the same vibrational frequency that we are. Sometimes you may need a spirit which is not within the confines or the understanding of who you are, and you might bring that particular spirit into your life so that you can align in a particular fashion. If you're not a confident person, if you're a very cowardly person, you might want more confidence, and therefore you might work with a spirit that brings in that confidence, so that you can start to resonate at that particular frequency, that vibration, and then you can go out and be confident, you know, that kind of thing. And sometimes what people call matrons and patrons and whatnot, a lot of people find that that's, or that particular spirit embodies something about them that they need in their life that they don't naturally have. So, yeah. Kerry, the clipot sounds dangerous. We live in the clipot. It's dangerous because it leads to spiritual psychosis and to being the Black Brothers and swimming in the cesspool of illusion, and they all think that they are, you know, have crossed the abyss and are on the other side, but they're still immersed in the illusion of the cesspools and the tunnels of Set and all that stuff, and the Grant rubbish. I don't know if it's dangerous, it's just misled. The clipot is the illusion, it's the Maya. It's the skin that is keeping them from the actual underworld, the juicy bit, the reality, the other world. You know, it's just staying in the illusion. Johnny, I view Enochian magic as stupid. I view chaos magic as extremely powerful and extremely dangerous. Oh no, definitely wouldn't consider chaos magic to be dangerous. It's just another way of doing things, really. I mean, chaos magic, you suspend belief in order to take on belief in order to accomplish a particular task, and you immerse yourself in that belief until the task is complete. But that can be you become a Wiccan, or you become a Kabbalist, or you become a whatever for a period of time in order to accomplish your task. So you take on that particular form of magic. There is aspects of chaos magic where you open up to the chaos, which is opening up to the potential of everything. It's opening yourself up to the nothingness, the void, the abyss, or whatever terms what people want to use. But that's opening yourself up to all possibilities. So I wouldn't really say that's a dangerous thing. I think it's something we kind of all need to do at some point. Stormy Omar just looked up the picture of Hecate, and I resemble her. My hair is shorter, but the ravens are my love, and the dogs wolves all around me. Yep, yep. Hecate loves the dogs. It's very much connected with Cerberus, the three-headed hound of Hell or Hades, the guardian of the gates of Hades. Very much connected with Cerberus and such things. Kerry, Jono, is the number 8 important in Chaos Magic? Okay, you asked Jono, so I'm not going to answer. Kerry, I must actually bring this to an end. We've been on for like two and a half hours. I need to go to bed. Kerry Lee, is the clip off dangerous? In terms of it can very easily lead to spiritual psychosis and delusion. Absolutely, yes. But other than that, it's just yeah, I don't have very many nice things to say about the clip off. The modern interpretation of the clip off, anyway. Let's put it that way. Castle loved the number 8. Jono, Kerry, Uncle knows better than me, but yes. Oh yeah, well, it does. 8's a very profound number in Chaos Magic. The Chaos Sphere is made up of 8 points. So yeah, it's the whole basis. Kerry, in the Tarot, 8 is Strength. I think it's a very different direction to Chaos Magic though. Jahed makes sense. Very attracted to Azazel. Hopefully I can invoke him and do path work with him. Azazel's a great spiritual worker. I like Azazel. Very much a knowledge bringer, a Lucifer. And I say a Lucifer, as in a light bringer. The title, not the perceived entity. Yeah, Azazel's great. Also from a forging perspective, which we could kind of see that as an alchemical aspect. Yeah, anyway. Oh, Sappho's here. Hello, Sappho. I'm actually going to wrap up now because I've been on here for 2.5 hours. My bum's starting to get sore. I'm going numb. Jahed, do you have experience with Yaldabaoth? Oh, no. Ask Jono. Jono's the Gnostic. Invocation. Could you share your impression, please? Would working with him not be detrimental if one wants to escape the Matrix? Yeah, because he's trying to keep you in the Matrix. Yeah, that would be like a complete opposite reaction. But no, I'm not a Gnostic. Never have been. So Yaldabaoth kind of doesn't function in my stream of things. Jono, for me, 5 is power over the natural world, 6 is power over other people. Interesting. 7 is the power of capital G God. 8 is the power of stability. I would say 4 is the power of stability. That's foundation. Okay. And 5 of power over the natural world would be pentagram. 6 would then be power over the planetary aspects, because that's the hexagram. Anyway, yeah, that's your thing. Stormy, going to run my dogs now. Okay, have fun. Talk soon. Castle, blessed be all, may the gods and goddesses watch over all and protect, and you too. I'll rewatch. Yeah, it was actually a good chat today, I must say. Some interesting things came out. Sweet dreams, Uncle. Thank you, and I will rub my head for you. This is going to be like the Buddha thing. I'm going to sleep thinking about your amazing head. It's getting very sexual now, John. Stop it. You're gonna make me blush. Numb bum. Yes, I'm getting a numb bum. That's why I keep changing. At least this chair, it doesn't happen as quickly. My old chair, God, Struth, that was terrible. Richard, good night. And to you. All right. Have a good wait. Jaheb, good night. Thank you for very much for answering my question. You also have a chill vibe. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'll see you. Hopefully, see everybody next week. Oh shit! I didn't do my announcements, and now everybody's probably going. I'll do it again next week. I wanted to just tell everybody what I'm doing next year because there's a lot of interesting, fun things. So these Covenstead lives I'm going to be doing twice a month, and then what I'm going to do is the other weeks. Yeah, so I'll do 1 week here, 1 week on Patreon for anybody on the journal tier upwards, then 1 week here, and then 1 week on Patreon again. Okay, and then just keep rotating like that every month. And then I'm going to start doing workshops, Zoom workshops. I'm working on the one at the moment, which is about the creation of a spirit box. So, yeah, look out for those. I will give lead time to book for the workshops, maybe 2 months. So there'll be an early bird discount as well on that. That's going to start next month. Yeah, and that's my announcement. So I'll have to do them again next week. But that's starting in January. Okay, with the switching between here and Patreon. All right. Thanks everybody, and 10 squats a day keep the doctor away. I'll take your word for it. It would send me to the doctor straight away because I'll probably pull a muscle or something. All right. Have a good one. Thank you, everybody, and